Well, so much for our worries about Harrison Mevis, Brady Cook, and the Missouri offense, huh? Unbelievable. An SEC record kick for the win, and in my opinion, the best game Brady Cook has played as a Missouri Tiger. So let's talk about this spectacular Tiger victory coming up right now on Locked On Mizzou.
You are Locked On Mizzou, your daily podcast on the Missouri Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, all you true sons and daughters. I'm John Miller, your Mizzou mafioso and the central scrutinizer of Missouri Tigers football and basketball. And these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions apply. And you know what? That moment may be about as professional as I'm going to get as a broadcaster for this podcast, because I got to be honest, I am on cloud nine right now. In my opinion, that is the best Missouri victory on the football field in 5 years. Go all the way back to Gainesville, 2018, when the Tigers took it to the Gators down in the swamp. Barry Odom's second to last season as Missouri coach. Well, hopefully after this victory, we're going to get quite a few more seasons of Eli Drinkwitz, because despite the fact that, quite frankly, on that last offensive possession for Missouri, you know, it left a lot to be desired for Eli Drinkwitz. Could you believe that coming out of the kickoff, Missouri was not organized enough to have a play that they could run without avoiding a delay of game on 1st and 10? Again, the first play you run as an offense. Again, I hate to be negative here, but that's how we were feeling at the start of this drive. And then I got to be honest, it's still a little mysterious to me. I'm sure I can find out when I watch the game back, but a 56-yarder turns into a 61-yarder from more mismanagement, frankly, by the Missouri offense. But hey, 61 yards. My father-in-law was talking to me and saying, hey, does he have the leg for it? I'm going, yeah, he's got the leg for it. Harrison Mevis, of course, I'm saying. But it's got to be a perfect snap, a perfect placement by the holder. And so far for this young season, Missouri, there hasn't been enough great snaps and great holds. But give everyone credit on the Missouri field goal unit on this final play, 61 yards for the win. Hey, that's got to give Harrison Mevis just a tremendous amount of confidence. I almost think that kind of play, I think he's back now. I'm not even worried about Mevis at this point. And frankly, even before this, a lot of people I noticed in the parking lot after the game were saying, hey, Harrison, the Auburn kick, well, you know what? All is forgiven at this point. Honestly, I had already forgiven Harrison for that play. 2022 is in the rearview mirror. Who cares about 2022? 2023 is what Missouri is focused on now. And like I said, leading up to this ball game, all it was going to take is one victory against Kansas State, against a top 15, a legit top 15 club, by the way. Kansas State should not hang their hat in this ball game. If anything, this just says that Missouri is better than what all of us saw in the first two games. And quite honestly, a lot of that is because I think some mistakes by Eli Drinkwitz. I still don't love a few things, as I hate to be negative at the start of the show, but that final drive by Drinkwitz really had some mismanagement there. But at the same time, Missouri deserves a ton of credit for coming out and showing what, in my opinion, was a different offense against a really good Kansas State defense, a 3-3-5 look defensively that you just don't see that much. And to give even more credit to Drinkwitz and Kirby Moore and company, they did a lot what I suggested leading up to this game. What I saw on film from Kansas State, what I saw some things that needed to change from Missouri, and also the game last year. To me, I was saying, hey, we need to run way more play action. We need to fake the run, throw the pass. Well, Missouri did that. To me, I don't have the numbers for you in front of me, but to my eyes, Missouri ran so much more play action in this game than they did in the first two ball games. And to me, because of the 3-3-5 defense, those three linebackers for Kansas State behind the three down linemen, well, because they have to defend the run very aggressively, to me, they're vulnerable to play action. And really, just we've seen just statistically over the years that play action is almost a cheat code, especially on first and second down. That's one thing I was really pushing Missouri to do, and I'll give them a lot of credit for doing so. And you know what? I'm also going to give Missouri a lot of credit for doing something that I wasn't necessarily thinking about, and that's quarterback design runs early in the ball game for Brady Cook. I was kind of joking around with my dad and the fans around me saying, oh my God, it's Cam Newton here on the first couple drives. Well, that was very effective, and more effective often than not early in the ball game than the handoffs that Missouri was getting. So I want to give Missouri, Kirby Moore, Eli Drinkwitz a lot of credit for changing up the offense, having some different looks that I think they probably should have had in the first couple games. Maybe they were saving it. I'm not really interested in that argument at this point. I just want to give credit where credit is due to the Missouri offense for taking some different shots, taking some different looks, and obviously playing probably the best game they've played all year. 30 points against Kansas State, a legit returning Big 12 champion. Hey, big ups to Eli Drinkwitz and company, despite the fact that, hey, if you're going to come out on a game-winning drive and you don't know what play you're going to run, you're going to take a delay a game, that's a huge mistake, but fortunately it didn't cost Missouri in the end. Thank you, Harrison Mevis, and the whole field goal unit for that. And you know what? One thing that was definitely real from the two first games of the Missouri offense is that Luther Burden is becoming an absolute star before our very eyes. There's just no question about it. 7 receptions for 114 yards, 2 touchdowns by the young man, and I'll tell you this, he had a catch that set up an early touchdown for Missouri that I think was as important of a play as you'll see all season. It also happened to be on the same route combination that Missouri hit last week against MTSU for a big gain. So I want to break down that play and a whole bunch of other key plays for you coming up. But first, I want to tell you about LinkedIn Jobs, because these days, every new potential hire can really feel like a gamble for your small business. So you want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Just add the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Well, no Friday show for me this week, and I think that's going to become a trend because each and every Friday on my Locked On Mizzou YouTube channel and every Locked On College YouTube channel, you can find Locked On College Football Kickoff live again every Friday from 10 a.m. to noon Eastern. The playoffs, the conference races, rivalry games, covered like only our hosts at Locked On College can, covering their team every day. Find Locked On College Football Kickoff live every Friday from 10 a.m. to noon Central on any Locked On College YouTube channel. You won't want to miss it. So Missouri starts the game down 7-0 on what I would say was a really excellent scripted drive by Chris Kleiman, Colin Klein, and the Kansas State offense. I thought that was a really impressive drive, but at the same time, the Missouri defense stiffened around the goal line only for Jalen Carlisle to bat the ball up in the air on an excellent defensive play by him. Just completely unluckily, the ball is batted up in the air and caught almost in perfect stride by another Kansas State receiver for a touchdown for the Wildcats. So obviously there's been a lot of negativity around this game coming in for Missouri fans. So I think this next drive where Missouri scores a touchdown was really paramount just in terms of confidence for this team. And you know what? Let's bring up that touchdown for Missouri. They're at about midfield here. Luther Burden here in his usual slot position. Mookie Cooper kind of stacked along with Theo Weiss, those two guys next to him. And what happens here this is actually a good design here by Kirby Moore and Eli Drinkwitz, because if you notice, and actually if you're a regular everyday listener of this podcast, you'll notice that actually this was the best explosive play, this same route combination by Luther Burden on a post down the middle of the field here. Same route combination between him and Mookie Cooper. But it's disguised. It's a different formation here, because previously Theo Weiss here on your extreme left on the outside, well, he wasn't here before. So an excellent play that worked by Missouri last week is actually essentially the same thing, but it's disguised here by the formation. So let's run it forward here. You'll see Mookie Cooper. Theo Weiss goes in motion here. You'll see Mookie Cooper and Luther Burden essentially exchange. Burden is the slot receiver. Cooper's the outside receiver at the snap. Well, they exchange, and suddenly Cooper runs inside. Burden runs outside, just completely burns number 10 here immediately. 21 can't get back far enough. Cook does a good job avoiding the rush, actually kind of fading to his left here. Does not completely set his feet, but man, what an absolutely perfect ball that catches Burden in stride for a touchdown. I mean, that's absolutely what Missouri needed immediately. Not only to score a touchdown, but just to hit an explosive 50-yard touchdown pass here early in the ball game and prove that, oh, wait, maybe this offense is a little different than what we saw the first couple weeks. And just a great pass again by Brady Cook. Couldn't have made it any easier on Luther Burden there. So just a perfect start for the Missouri offense. And on the defensive side of the ball for the Tigers, I'd seen some complaints, I guess, criticisms, if you will, or maybe just observations, to be fair, that the Missouri defense had yet to record a takeaway to force a turnover in the first 2 weeks of the season. But you know what? As I had said coming into this ball game, I wasn't worried about that whatsoever. The Tigers had gotten plenty of havoc plays in terms of getting into the backfield, crushing the quarterback, blowing up running plays, all that good stuff. And also on the backside of the play in the secondary, getting hands on the ball. So it just seemed to me that it was a matter of time before the Tigers got a takeaway. And, well, we saw it in this ball game. And here we go once again, the subsequent possession here by Kansas State after the first touchdown by Missouri. And here's what you get. You get some pressure right up the middle of the field. Tyron Hopper, again, another thing I've pointed out, I could point it out many times in this ball game. Tyron Hopper is one heck of a blitzer, along with being a really good run defender and a middle linebacker. When you bring him in pressure, there's just something about the way he times up these plays. Look at number 8 here in the middle of the field right next to the ump. Just times it up, gets into Howard's face, causes him to make a decision he wishes he'd have had back, quite frankly. And Chris Abrams-Drain right there to make the play, get Missouri the football in their territory. So, again, Tyron, as much as I talk about Chris Abrams-Drain and Ennis Rakestraw, and with good reason, let's not underestimate how good of a player Tyron Hopper is. He really, really shows up on film, and the more you kind of get into the subtleties of defense, boy, you realize what a great player he is. And listen, to all of you all who thought that the Missouri line was suspiciously low, well, gosh, I talked about that all week, didn't I? And I'm not saying that my friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook are undefeated by any stretch of the imagination, but they sure as heck are more right than they are wrong. The public was very much on Kansas State this week, but guess who ended up winning the game outright? Yes, it was your Missouri Tigers. So let's learn stuff, but you know what? Regardless of which side you want to take, hey, let's get ready for the NFL tomorrow. Sunday, of course, the NFL season is very much upon us with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now truly is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props to season-long futures and even more. So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. It's FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. So while I do have certainly some criticisms of Eli Drinkwitz after this game, let's focus on the positives. Obviously an incredible win for the Tigers, and even on this last play here, this last true offensive snap here for Missouri that sets up the game-winning field goal, well, you can't even say that they were conservative on this particular play when you really look at it, because while, yes, here on the left side of this play, yes, Missouri gets it to Theo Weiss on a fairly relatively conservative drag route here. I shouldn't say drag route, like a skinny post slant type route. If you look on the right side of the play, well, Luther Burton on the right, he does run a slot fade and kind of wins on the route. Like, the only point here is that Missouri does have options here. If they wanted to throw a touchdown and try to win the game right here on one play, well, they could have done it. But the way 19 here for Kansas State, up by the hash marks on the right side, the way he drops into coverage, that's the right read here from Brady Cook to take this underneath pass to Theo Weiss, get some yardage, and sets up what would have been a 56-yard field goal. Obviously, Missouri commits a penalty and makes it 61, but you know what? Good execution here by Brady Cook. Good catch by Theo Weiss. And again, to me, the right read by Brady, and what was, in my opinion, I said last week, I thought that was maybe the worst game that Brady Cook had played. You could certainly argue that his game against Kansas State, where he got injured, he injured his shoulder last year, was really bad too. But to me, I just thought this was the best game that Brady Cook has played in his entire career. And you noticed when Sam Horn came in for a couple of snaps there, well, Missouri only wanted to hand the ball off. And that's really not a discredit to Horn by any stretch of the imagination. It just tells you that Brady Cook is obviously taking the lion's share of the snaps in practice. So they just wanted to, hey, figure out, okay, I'm not really sure what Brady Cook's lower leg injury was there. I'm just watching it from the stands here. Didn't have any kind of internet connection, so no Twitter feed, any of that kind of stuff. But it was pretty clear they didn't want to run him as much as they did in the first half after that injury. But again, give just a tremendous amount of credit to Brady Cook for playing a great game at quarterback and for being a tough son of a gun too. So, you know what? Thank you all for joining me here on Locked On Mizzou on this special post-game edition here on a Saturday afternoon after what is, in my opinion, the best Missouri victory of the last 5 years. So, until next time, hit me up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts, even the SiriusXM app. Got a whole bunch of links for you. Very easy to find for you and a fellow true son or daughter over at LockedOnMizzou.com. So, until Monday, I'll see you next time right here on Locked On Mizzou.